Inside Story Uganda, real source of political updates. Inside Story Uganda.
Teri
abasajja abamanyi batinyefunza bandi
bonna bakube bali kutaka
ekyuma kirya mayinja tosibira ku bulo bwa Bobi Wine omusajja kasali akatasa kinumba leka kusibira ku kutya yansene ne duka ekimirente kapatebera wote wagala njala
kuchalo kufa kenja
ugabizimbira from zero
ekyalo
is the only leader ku independence we inherited the colonial army which was dominantly northern nti ku independence twalina amaje 13 ngabakako bali 35. This is why Obote could not saka Felix Onama
kubanga bali abangi
adeko ndichoni yakwata mukazi we ne Felix Onama mbuliri
muganda Obote
ndagamba muganda musajja onja mutira mu cabinet saka him kwa uli omutundu yakwete mu cabinet
muri yangafa
ali ku mukazi wange Obote namugaya you stupid yamurepinze mukazi wize malaya nengo Obote era nichoni yava mu government y'Obote mu 1964 Minister of Information. Why Obote could not antagonize Felix Onama yali ayimirira
omukakwa wa manyo
Museveni ani gwatagoba muganda gwe yasokera kambe kamanda wo
ni akikoza atya
we studied digital systems analysis. I studied
lwachi opposition bali medical systems analysis lwachi
what is the system until what the Catholic Church is not torn apart bwe bategeera nti omuganda atali muganda bw'omuleeta erubaga abaganda bajja kutabuka papa yateekawo archbishop
bonna baganda
bonna beetukira Roma eastern
bonna beetukira
western northern kati Buganda nesigala nga katikiro wa Buganda tetuyina head of the Catholic Church. The head of the Catholic Church is the chairman of the Episcopal Conference, which is rotational. Era kya embarrassing ti atezibwa akuli ekeresia mu Uganda ate abadde wansi wa kibisoko lwanga
ekyo bakikola batya
anti nkubulira tikakati abantu bonna bagenda erubaga nga bagamba nti ziwa yasigalawo yakuuma. They were surprised. Monsenyo olikondi ompaka wa papa omuzungu atayina bajjajjabe wano yasoma kiwandiiko nekigwa
afafe
atayina bajjajjabe wano. So you see
segenda kutereera ekyo kino kolebwa systems analysis
nti bano abaana bannemu
lwaki
ekyokuli mujoga abantu mmwe nojoga nasali kati olaba
lwaki abantu nga
kano kasojja bakakubyamu inje motoka yange ngate bagikuba
mwami Tamale
kasojja bakatimpudde kano kakundu
kaluwa
akakasajja kayupisi ogenze okoledde gavumenti mu covid nosiba bbala yabaliyo kubanga takubera covid bali kunakuyola nakujoga nakubamukomera nakuvunana
nakutulako
kati kali muyiso babade bakasi
systems analysis lwaki abantu nga bano wateeka lwaki babikola Mirundi
alileta appointment iri wanjamu bomutayimba mutireyo
mwami Tamale
that's why babajoga kati bano nabo banide ku mutuba nasali bani bakera kumechene bamuga nti dayo na dayo
bano bakola ki bano bakola ki bano balina mugaso ki
ngogamba nti ngogamba
bano benjagala
ngogamba unlike Obote who was a figurehead, Museveni's government is tightly under his grip. One of the senior MA officers who have tried to create a tumble of the government have ended up in the coolers. Therefore, since nobody has succeeded to intimidate Museveni, and no one who has his political future plans, his political opponents within and outside the government and the NRM party cannot lay political traps for him or jeopardize his future plans. In the world of realities, you can only undermine what you know. You cannot undermine what you don't know. Kati wa Museveni kakati ono amwandamine ngoti
kuchota manyi
tomanyi future plans
kadi ziri wano kufuwa azitadde
wano ekyago bya gundi ekyago bya Mulindo biri maaso kujja wange ku secretariat twali tugenda mu bibiina nga tukola ki Museveni takes time tafambulinga kati wakapobulo ne bidande ne bagalita so form political party unayinza kubanga yayagala kuwumula
ko tukyagenda mu maaso
kati Mulindo biri maaso n'abawabira ne bamusiba why did they
yafuna ebizibu biyitirivu
why did they from Mulindo biri maaso to the police not the NRM disciplinary committee because the money had taken was belonging to the party. You cannot use state institution to solve a party problem. Sechikubu yakwata kaboka NRM
nakasamba
bamukwatako. You cannot use state, use disciplinary measures. But if Sechikubu had killed a person, this is when the state comes.
Sechikubu is
realistic.
But technically kumanya.
Kagani nkugamba. Prior to the third term debate in the parliament, there were two prominent government officials who positioned themselves as the successors of Museveni. They set up presidential campaign teams, not knowing that would be the next step of the incumbent, despite rubbing shoulders with him. Had they known, they would not have spent their resources on the futile project. Upon realization that Muzei was still around, they hastily disbanded their campaign teams. Era nze kankubule ekyanyiza Tumukunde kyali kimu. Tumukunde bamugamba nti state house
ne bamusibye sibyo musajja oyo
naye balonze Mbabazi ne Kenya to float as the president considers amendment. If we fail to amend, Museveni yabagamba mbu nti mwe ekyamuleetedde ebizibu yalwawo okudecidinga Uhuru Kenyatta. Let us do two things: amend the constitution and then allow our two people to float. In case it fails, tujja kubana Mbabazi n'ateekawo ttiimu ne Bukenya. Kakati gundi ampita Tumukunde ti meeting ebadde egindi ogitegedde mu state house kunza sikitegedde nali sikolangayo mbu balonze Bukenya ne gundi ne Mbabazi olabanga atabusa omutwe nangamba are these people think we are luggages to be put on the way, to be put on the road on the way?
Abazu
no, don't lose your temper. Museveni is still around. Museveni has never been selfish in anything.
But with leadership,
Museveni talekola nga yo kintu nga yakifunamu. He ends up nga yakifunamu. Oluguudo lwe lwakitulo kulukuba kola sirumaze ebbanga ki nga mwe mugendayo muzeeyo oluguudo lukube ko lwe yalukuba. Museveni is always the last person to do something.
By the end of the day, ne babanga yasembayo kiwuzikira wuwe
singa muhozi tafunye buzibu mu family yawe okumumalisinga naki bamuteekamu abakuba abantu mu kibinja ki ugonde Museveni yasosa omwana muwomulimu owalukyamuzi yakola ki owalule yaliruddawo owobata aliruddawo
n'abala bangi babaka wa parliament
muganda yaleeta ne muganda ng'afudde would it be bad? Njagala wanga akuba ebidogo
mama kitobo ne yalese muwala we
kakati Museveni
tuyagala wakuba ebidogo
is suffering from family fire. Bamusosekamu abantu mu gundi besi yabalimba
olulimi lwebenda okusurvivinga mu mannyo mu maggwa
kakati nkugamba nti during the Constitutional Assembly debate Justice Professor George Kanyahamba was the point man. In fact, to be fair, he contributed over 80% of the constitutional provisions. He boasted once that at the time of completing this constitution draft process, he perused through other countries' constitutions and served for North Korea, which was in the native language. And he pointed out Uganda's constitution was the finest, which made many. Though, as a delegate, Kanyahamba was so influential in the Constituent Assembly, CA, which made many movement delegates think he had the president's ear. He never knew about the future plan of Museveni. This is why the term limit was not one of the entrenched provisions in the constitution, simply because nobody expected that after 20 years of uninterrupted rule, Museveni would still offer himself his candidature. It is at this point that Kanyihamba is very bitter. His intelligence limits were exposed by failure to fully read and comprehend Museveni's future plans. But he went ahead to blame the constitution and made it easy for Museveni to go past 20 years at the helm. It is this bitterness from Justice Kanyihamba. I don't think this is the document, but this is his document. He makes a lot of noise. Professor Kanyihamba, at the time of formulating the constitution, was a well-respected legal guru, as is it today. But back then, beside his legal formidability, he was at the same time, he wrongly believed that he knew Museveni's future plans. Kanyihamba is not a political scientist to predict future political events. I wanted to emphasize the point that attorneys will always be attorneys. Any pretense otherwise will boomerang. If Kanyihamba maintained on his legal identity and never meandered in effort to appease or impose anyone, he would possibly be the happiest Ugandan today. Uganda's constitution will by chances be as he described it as its enactment, because right then he could have influenced the entrenchment of term limits provisions in the 1995 constitution to be left intact 10 years later during the amendment of 205 is useless. This is where politics biva with the law. Akatoka bwembanga tandika nagamba ti omwana ango yali mu parliament nali sagala asome mateeka. I wanted to leave a politician. Why? When I look to many people, lawyers, except the gifted ones, lawyers don't make a good politicians.
Yeah.
Politics and law are never bedfellows. This is for justice. For us, the means justifies the end.
With politics?
Yes. Bano baganti osobola okusumulula abatemu kyenda mu mwenda otemu ali innocent. This is not politics. Kati nesagala lawyer, I didn't want a lawyer.
In the family?
Naye akoze abafumize bulungi. The others. Kakati nkugamba nti look at the constitutional making the process. Kanyihamba yagenda wa president namugamba, do you have anything you want in the constitution? Sebe namugamba nti ate njagala muki. What we should do is to make a flexible constitution. Kanyihamba teyategeera flexible constitution.
Kitegeeza ina kyayagala.
Yagamba Kanyihamba nti yagala okukomawo. Kanyihamba yalisibye ekisanja.
Naye yamugamba let us make a flexible constitution.
Kanyihamba agamba banne, let us fix this man to 20 years. Amaze emyaka 10 kati muongere 10 emirala. Omusajja amaze okugamba nti revolutionary aba n'ebisanja.
Kakati bino ebiriwo.
Ebyo byammwe.
Yalayidde kyamukaaga.
Gambye nti gwe akada akawoninga emmotoka. Bwekaka tokayigino walinga.
Nga kabera
kasiba emmotoka.
Kayitamu n'obutiyo nga bakuziika.
Kuwesanyusa bwesanyusa.
Ogera mu maaso.
A revolutionary does not respect term limits. A revolutionary comes for transformation.
Kati nekiriwo kigumaaza.
Ati nkubulidde once the man tells you I'm a revolutionary. That's why I want to warn these people, especially Europeans. Look what Mugabe, look what Museveni, look what Gaddafi. Anybody who thinks that can push Museveni out of this country is making a very big plan. He will die here. Ate Museveni kyayawukana n'abano ba Mugabe baani ye aliyola problem. Nti aliyola is working on it. Bino ebyokukwata abantu abikize. Bano akabinja kona ababbi yagambye minister. Omuyiba abadde bazi bazimbye ennyumba baadde bazimbye ennyumba ng'eri bullet proof ng'eri sound proof ng'eri water proof mwe batuula okutuula nenjikwata
bantu senenga bakosesa nyingi ez'omiwa omusolo
namugamba Gandhi tell your friends I know what you are doing and I arrest you minisita yafuse mu mpale era kyamani w'abasuma w'ekibiina ky'abasuma ekigombe ky'abasuma yabadde akirizaawo ekibinja ky'abasuma ne balonda ne successor wa Museveni bagamba omusajja can't step down are you there niba akashamba yadduse akashamba yabadde ekiro mu sipiiki ng'agenza okuketta amannya Museveni gawaddeyo babakwale nebwenamu lwakashamba ne simukaadi kuliko ndala yataddeyo nalabye ekyeyamani w'abasuma ng'agenze wa mukama nakati webali deatiserena zimba akumwa kange kabalabanga
abaza akyogera lunye nti Gaddafi yali selfish
kakati nkugamba nti
aza akyogera lunye.
Another important fact about Museveni where his enemies don't understand, Museveni is always underestimated by his enemies. When you think that Museveni is weak, is at his strongest point. Agenda luno mwabe Masaka muja kumulabako ngadduka yaddukira mu Gomesi Besigye yatema
kulinda kwota pinya
isole ya Uganda twakafuna abaddukira mu Gomesi nga bakwatole Masaka babiri Francis Walugembe bamukwatya ku board
owe Masaka
Besigye yaddukira mu Gomesi nga ne Besigye kabine yaddukira atya mu Gomesi mwabe Masaka agenda luno eriyo tsunami eriyo we don't use short-term strategies to solve a political problem. Mwagamba tajja kulayira kati alayidde what else nalabye mutabani wange owa Bobi Wine agamba Bobi Wine yatuyeeyo nnyo talina kaakoze wakoleki akoleki namugambye akoleki bwelowooza nti agenda
kyeyasuubiza kyabakola
atya tewaliiwo wano omuntu mwetegefu kufa ssasi ng'akolera omulala taliiwo why tetunatuuka ku mbeera obote kugenda mu nsiko tewali kyabaganya okukola okujjako bano ababba amata kati amaliba tewali agagula sukaali ebikapa ne bababonyabonya kuba mwe bali amata mugalimu faludoni manya ennyama erimu faludoni etya how can a butcher man benefit by powering faludoni mu nnyama atya eruzinga weiti monopole ni mubaba bubi gwa mukasa kati mukasa w'ennyanja munyankole ayogera lunyankole nga kuba amato g'abantu if Museveni visits this area nosanga nti mulwera wayisanga trailer tippers eziva okuyola omusenyu mulwera ekiro kyonna olwera ne baluwamba mbw'obukyayina butaddewo omuceere ogwo basempijja n'enzikiriza omuceere oguli mulwera gwali gulabiddwako ku mawuledi ludda weerukaya buli wamuwonna ne mubbawo kakati mumulowooza mutya sente za education muzibi tulina two ministries education enoonya akalulu kuba ekwata na mwana radio muzibye neti
agriculture kyekwata ku musamba nanda
muzibbi sente za health
agriculture musamba nanda muzibbi
tajja kunjogerako kubanga woti tajja kimukolezi kubakomufogo bagwazi you are watching me babentu eyo bajazi
amusajja yalayidde kati kyekiddako
kakati nkugamba nti while Museveni was strongly protesting the 1980 presidential elections and threatening to go to the bush thereafter, Dr. Milton Obote and his colonies were laughing him off. Obote reacted that if Museveni there went
scout,
he would be followed and left there dead. 5 years later, it is Obote who escaped from Uganda, disguised as a luggage in a cupboard. Apparently, he was running away from his own army, which had sent to hunt Museveni in the bush. It realized we shall go to the bush and leave him there. Obote yaleeta Abangereza, British Advanced Military Team, the North Korean commandos, Tanzanian British military team, ne training abajasi emitwalo ena under Kanogole to flush out Museveni's menace once. Because we are scattered, never demoralized. Casualties are easy. And a fierce battle erupted between Langis and Acholis. Tifetu because the Langis of what spares Langis. That's why they had to appoint Smith upon Acha, a Langi. He had to entrust the Ruel operation to Ogole, a Langi. Because they detected that
the Acholis are the withdrew.
Soon after the Obote's escape, the generals who overthrew him invited Museveni for peace talks in Nairobi, Kenya. During the course of talks, Okero Rutua addressed a public rally in Kampala at the State Square, renamed Constitution Square in 1995, where he compared Museveni to a fungal snake, which was harmless apart from his scaling loop. When the snake invited the comers finally raised his head, Okero Rutua disappeared in thin air, underestimating Museveni. Once you underestimate Museveni, you are finished. When you see him, he is weak, is when he is strong.
Is that his strongest point?
Is that his strongest point?
Kakati agenda kugenda ati anga akoye bukoyi
nkugamba
tedi agenda kumuvuganya
upon Museveni's assumption of power in 1986, the leadership of DP mistakenly sought to take it from him, the government, by virtue of their social standing. Since DP was the only organized political party back then, because UPC was suffering from the haunts of their past atrocities and confusion, and Museveni's peasants overwhelmed, among whom he fought, could not make competent ministers. It was obligatory that Museveni dominated his maiden government with the DP adherents. He soon started ejecting one by one. By the time Dr. Samogere woke up to leave government, he was cracking a joke and laughing alone. Yabaita gentleman's agreement was Samogere bamutwala ne Zedi Malulu wano again Napingu Museveni yali atadde camp. Samogere bakadugo bamutwalira mwanda we jambo mzee tunakamata adui kweli minisa wa Rutwa. Museveni aga kadogo wacha hiyo Dr. Samogere kakati omusajja gwanonudde mu nvuba yali atesa na yatya. Museveni negotiated with Samogere as a hostage. Kyobayaba nti DP who had already served the Okero Rutwa's government that was killing people, they had lost credibility. They could not reject Museveni's offer. They did not negotiate. They didn't differentiate between a coalition government, a government of national unity, and a broad-based government. Bajira kuchi, ti gentleman's agreement. Abadipi bajira kuchi. Ekibina kyonna ne bakimalayo.
Kyane bakiwaye
n'ayingira Minister of Foreign Affairs. Muganda we Kawanga, Deputy Minister of Transport. Zakalorumu, I saw him yesterday. Ayingira mu kibuga ky'Amalianga. Kuzoganize.
Zakalorumu n'ayingira.
Became in agriculture. Ono mukazi gwempuli ayogera ennaku zino yali mu agriculture.
Evaristo Nyanzi n'ayingira.
Musoko yali obulamu. Musoko yali obulamu. Mulaba ayogera kati.
Evaristo Nyanzi yali Mesa Kamasi
n'ayingira. Sebana Kizito oyo no bali tebamuwadde. Sebana Kizito was the deputy leader of the opposition. Nga basoka 10 bagenze bali kisiwayiba. Era abasoka 10 bwe bagenda bakazungu bafa. This is why now Busoga is dominated by
Damiano Begati yayingira yali mbitongole birala
bakazungu bali kisiwayiba ali bonna bafa. They joined the UPC by Bigombe. They joined the UPC in mass. Bonna ne bafa Busoga. That's why Busoga politics is dominated by women.
Yeah.
Eyasigalamu yekka yali ogo kyesimira. Ate n'afa mama. I'm not seeing their children. Where are the Kazungu's children? Where is the
They are disappointed with the politics.
No, abantu baba kyawa. Make a decision. Mayinja aliddamu okuyimba.
Ate eddoboozi lyabadde ki?
Anti kugambe.
Eddoboozi lyabadde ki?
You cannot move from one end of politics to the other. The moment I start attacking Museveni, I will lose even the support I have. Jo babadde bagadde emmotoka zonna nga tebatambula abantu ng'abantu naye ngate ngenda ku biiti basajja ne basindira emmotoka yange naye kasaba agambye omusajja yandabye n'abuulira banne omukuku nava ali omu bonna abasirikale bavudde ku mirimu ne bajja babuuze ku mukuku n'abantu ne bakuŋŋaana waayi olala nali ngenda mukono kamangali ya poliisi nensitopinga ninga mwagala kunkwata ndikukana arestiyo naye tugambireko saako yaffe abasajja batubba. I'm very popular in the police force. Yes. I'm the only person who can. You know what president ajiyingiramu mwali mugamba Kayihura iziki saako eyawazalendo ngeewa abantu eyawazalendo yabantu yabaki. Is it welfare? Is it national security fund? Is it what?
What is it? What is it?
Kati oyaziyina mugagga nnyo ate babalimba mu Museveni yazeewola. That's why Museveni afune ebizibu. Transfer the anger. Let Museveni find out who is stealing policemen money. Balinga emitwalo ena. Basoka basala ku mitwalo 10 kati babasala ketana.
Naye wawe batabba.
Anti nkubulira.
Kuba buli kitongole bakibbemu.
Kati abapoliisi kati nze mpaba ntya ku poliisi nga n'abapoliisi bababba. Bakalakala ne mundu kufumula tiaga. Twabite mufumula bakamama mu abababbye. Kyobala nze nzikiriza mu shiriki. Yes.
13.
Hey.
Ngotekali mu kigali nga
tebana abaana tebakimanyi. Waliwo emmindi bagiyita bisinde bitabwande. Bayamitwe 13.
Bisinde
fuwa kilo 8 ng'oli bwereere. Ne buli okuba kabina n'oyogera erinnya abaana babonye. Mutabani wako Dija bonye.
Tebukubira simu nga mumbuuza emmindi banye bamenya kugamba nti mulanga twalira omusajja oyo atulage omusajja oyo 13 oyo olina.
Nnyini bujozi takwanga konga
bwa 13 oyo. Amale ekizibu. Amale ekizibu. Amale ekizibu. Amale ekizibu.
Mu gavumenti ya Museveni namukolako sireti. Anti kiri bwekiti Museveni alina ebintu bibiri andi kankubuulire Museveni alina ebintu bibiri byebatamanyi. In politics tulina kyetuyita political power following. When you go to Kenya, because of their politics, their political kingpins in every tribe. But Museveni teyakuliyetingawo situation ayita mu muntu. Museveni does not rule this country through proxy. He can afford. Museveni can afford to attack Mumbe. Museveni can afford okuleta teka erisiba bakabaka nga kabaka atanyiza okuzanyisa ekisumbu. He's a risk taker.
There's nothing for him without him.
Anti nkubuulidde nti yali azimba ekintu kye talina proxy. Ate okuva mu nsiko baabala bubi. Museveni yaleeta emirembe. Museveni yaleeta emirembe is not NRM. Everything was constructed on Museveni. Kibonge kyanini abaana ba Museveni obasanga eyo baana baani benarem
without him.
Museveni yaleeta emirembe senarem. Anti nkugambye bo be bakizimba fe tubala nti Obote yali tasobola kufuga ng'alina babilidadi muwonge ng'alina kafeero kongulesi ewaffe mu kyalo ng'alina kabira nnyendo za minya nga buli area ayinamu because a leader is not known, a leader is marketed. Who knew Obote? Obote was marketed by others. Until yali marketed by others. He created his own army from the beginning. Yes. Kagame nkugamba nti in the early 80s there was a motion in the parliament to remove any representative from the house. The late Oitojo, who always sat on the opposition side, stood and warned parliamentarians against wasting time debating such a motion. If it is, I quote Oitojo in 1983, if it is passed as it is, he cautioned, I'm afraid tomorrow you will not be seated in the same seats you are occupying now. This statement forced the government to withdraw the idea. Who can make such a statement now?